Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with this. Your life will always rise or fall to the level of your belief, not your resources, not your connections, not even your education. Belief is the starting point of every breakthrough. The difference between the one who wins and the one who gives up is not who had the best opportunity, but who believed they could create opportunity when none was visible. You will never rise higher than what you believe is possible for you. And that's not just a catchy phrase. It is the truth that governs every single area of your life. Think about this for a moment. The ceiling you keep bumping your head against, the invisible barrier you can't seem to break through, isn't made of concrete or steel. It's made of belief. The story you keep telling yourself about who you are, what you deserve, and what's possible for you is either building a staircase to greatness or a prison wall that keeps you trapped where you are. If you believe you can't, you won't. If you believe you can, you will. And if you believe God is able, then nothing will be impossible for you. That's how powerful belief really is. Most people live life reacting to their circumstances, thinking that what happens around them determines what happens within them. But the reality is the exact opposite. Your internal belief shapes your external reality. Life does not give you what you want. It gives you what you believe. That's why two people can walk into the exact same room, face the exact same challenge, and walk out with completely different results. One walks out defeated, the other walks out victorious. What made the difference? It wasn't resources. It wasn't education. It wasn't even luck. The difference was belief. The one who believed in their ability to rise did. The one who didn't. Now, here's the part that should shake you a little. Most of us are living under ceilings that we place there ourselves. And sometimes those ceilings weren't even built by our own hands. They were inherited. Somebody told you as a child that you'd never be good enough, and you believed them. Somebody said people from your neighborhood don't make it big, and you believed them. Somebody told you that money was evil, success was prideful, or that abundance was not for people like you, and you believed them. Those beliefs have become the walls you live within, but the truth is they were never real. They were illusions that you gave power to, and the moment you change your belief, those walls will crumble like paper. The reason belief sets the ceiling of your life is because your mind will never allow you to consistently operate above the level of what you believe to be true. If you believe you're destined to struggle, even when opportunities come your way, you'll sabotage them. If you believe you're not worthy of love, you'll push away the people who try to love you. If you believe wealth is out of reach, you'll never recognize the open doors that could lead you to financial abundance. But when you shift your belief, the same doors that were once invisible will suddenly become obvious. It's not that they weren't there before. It's that you couldn't see them through the filter of disbelief. Here's a question I want you to wrestle with. What would your life look like if you refused to believe in limits? What if you truly believed you were created to win, to thrive, to expand, to impact the world on a level that most people can't even imagine? What if you believed the pain of your past wasn't a prison, but a platform? What if you believed that every setback was really a setup for a comeback? Just imagine the kind of boldness, energy, and fire you would bring into your day if you woke up every morning with that kind of belief. That belief would change the way you talk to yourself, the way you walk into rooms, the way you show up for opportunities. And when you start showing up differently, life starts showing up differently for you. Don't miss this. Belief is not just positive thinking. Belief is alignment with truth. It's stepping into the reality that you were designed for greatness, and it's refusing to accept anything less than what you were created for. When you truly believe, you don't wait for doors to open, you start knocking them down. You don't wait for permission, you give yourself permission. You don't shrink back when you face resistance. You lean forward because you know resistance is just a sign that you're moving in the right direction. So ask yourself right now, what beliefs are setting the ceiling in my life? And more importantly, am I ready to break them? Because the day you change your belief is the day you change your future. It's not your environment, your background, or your resources that determine how high you go. It's your belief. And the moment you dare to believe bigger, everything else in your life will start to rise to meet you. The second thing you must understand about the power of belief is that it determines the way you see the world, and the way you see the world determines the way you move through it. Belief is not just a thought, it's a lens. It colors how you interpret situations, how you respond to challenges, and how you perceive opportunities. Two people can look at the same storm. One sees destruction and runs. The other sees rain for their crops and begins to prepare for growth. What made the difference? It wasn't the storm. It was the belief about what the storm meant. If you want to change your life, you have to change the lens you're looking through. Because the truth is, you will always find evidence to support what you already believe. If you believe the world is against you, you will notice every rejection, every closed door, and every unfair circumstance as proof. But if you believe the world is filled with opportunity, you'll see doors opening, you'll notice allies you didn't know you had, and you'll view every setback as a setup. The difference is not in the situation, but in the story your belief is telling you about that situation. Here's the trap. Your brain is wired to confirm what you already believe. That means if you believe you're unlucky, your mind will constantly scan for proof that you are unlucky. If you believe people can't be trusted, you'll overlook the ones who are trustworthy and zero in on the one who fails you. If you believe you're destined to succeed, you'll find opportunity in places others overlook. You'll interpret failure as feedback, and you'll move forward with unstoppable persistence. This is why belief is so powerful. It doesn't just influence what you see, it controls how you respond to what you see. Think about this. If you believe wealth is evil, then even if someone places the best business opportunity right in your hands, you'll hesitate. You'll resist it. You'll sabotage it. Why? Because your belief is filtering the opportunity through the lens of fear and guilt. But if you believe wealth is a tool to do more good, then you'll embrace that opportunity with energy and excitement. The external opportunity may be the same, but your internal belief completely changes your relationship to it. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because their belief system convinces them they don't have what it takes. That belief causes hesitation. That hesitation leads to missed opportunities. Missed opportunities compound into regret, and regret over time becomes the evidence you use to prove to yourself that you were never capable in the first place. It's a vicious cycle, but the good news is the cycle can be broken the moment you decide to change what you believe. Imagine walking into every room believing you belong there. Imagine facing every challenge believing there is always a solution. Imagine seeing every person you meet as someone who can either teach you, help you, or connect you. That shift in belief would completely change the way you carry yourself, the decisions you make, and the way people respond to you. People are drawn to belief because belief is magnetic. When you believe in yourself, others start to believe in you too. When you doubt yourself, others start doubting you as well. Belief is not passive. It actively creates the framework for your life. If your framework is built on fear, then you'll interpret every risk as danger. But if your framework is built on faith, then you'll interpret every risk as opportunity. One will make you shrink, the other will make you grow. The question you have to ask yourself is, which lens am I choosing to see through every single day? Because make no mistake, you are choosing it. You may not have chosen your upbringing, your circumstances, or your past, but you do get to choose the belief you live by moving forward. This is why the most important work you can do is not just in acquiring new skills or resources, but in renewing your belief. When your belief changes, the same world looks completely different. And when you see differently, you live differently. The power has never been outside of you. It's been inside you the entire time, waiting for you to believe. The third reality about belief is that it creates your identity, and your identity creates your destiny. People don't act according to what they want most of the time. They act according to who they believe they are. If someone believes deep down that they are a failure, even if they desperately want success, they will unconsciously make decisions that align with failure. If someone believes they're not worthy of love, no matter how much they crave connection, they'll push people away when love finally shows up. Your actions are a reflection of your identity, and your identity is shaped by the belief you've accepted about yourself. Think about it. A person who believes they are disciplined doesn't have to try to be disciplined. They just act in alignment with who they already see themselves as. A person who believes they are healthy doesn't fight daily battles about whether to exercise. They simply move like someone who values their health. A person who believes they're an entrepreneur doesn't sit around waiting for permission. They create opportunities, they take risks, and they build solutions. That's the power of belief. It transforms behavior by shaping identity. And here's the part that most people miss: identity is not something you discover. It's something you decide. Too many people are waiting for life to prove who they are instead of deciding who they are and then living it out until life catches up. You don't need evidence to start believing. Belief is the evidence that eventually creates the outcome. That's why the wealthy believe in abundance before they ever see millions. That's why champions believe they're winners before they ever hold the trophy. The belief comes first, the results come after. The problem is, most people let their past mistakes or failures define their identity. They say, I failed once, therefore I am a failure. But failing doesn't make you a failure. It just makes you human. The only thing that makes you a failure is adopting that experience as your identity. Imagine if Thomas Edison had believed his thousands of failed attempts meant he wasn't an inventor. The world would be sitting in the dark right now. But Edison didn't believe he was failing. He believed he was discovering. His identity was tied to curiosity and persistence, not defeat. That's the power of choosing the right belief about yourself. Here's a question to wrestle with. What are you believing about yourself that is sabotaging your future? If you believe you're not smart enough, you won't even attempt to step into arenas where your brilliance could shine. If you believe you're not capable of wealth, you'll settle for less than you deserve and call it humility. If you believe you don't deserve love, you'll accept relationships that mistreat you because they align with your low expectation. Beliefs about identity are not harmless. They are chains or wings. They will either trap you or they will set you free. The most liberating moment in life is when you realize you are not who your past says you are. You are not who other people told you you are. You are not even who your mistakes suggest you are. You are who you decide to believe you are starting today. If you decide to believe you are a person of vision, you'll start living with intention. If you decide to believe you are resourceful, you'll stop waiting for perfect conditions and start creating with what's in your hands. If you decide to believe you are worthy, you'll stop begging for acceptance and start commanding respect. Belief is the foundation of identity, and identity is the driver of destiny. If you've ever wondered why you keep repeating cycles in your life, it's because your belief has created a self-image that keeps pulling you back to the familiar. You'll never rise above the picture you hold of yourself. That's why the most important work you'll ever do is not upgrading your skills, but upgrading your self-belief. Because when you truly believe you are capable, worthy, and destined for greatness, your actions, habits, and results will have no choice but to line up with that truth. This is not just motivation, it's reality. Life will always rise or fall to meet the level of belief you have about who you are. If you change your belief, you change your identity, and if you change your identity, you change your destiny. The only question is, will you keep living as a prisoner of old beliefs, or will you step into the freedom of a new identity created by faith, vision, and unstoppable belief in yourself? Belief is the fuel that ignites persistence, and persistence is the bridge between intention and manifestation. You can have the most brilliant ideas, the grandest dreams, the clearest vision, but if you do not persist through the resistance, your dream will die at the starting line. The reason belief matters so much is because life will test you. Life will push against you. Life will throw obstacles, critics, and even your own doubts in your path. And when that happens, talent won't be enough, education won't be enough, and desire won't be enough. Only belief will keep you standing when everything around you tries to knock you down. Think about it. Every person who ever achieved anything extraordinary had to walk through a season where everything in their circumstances screamed, quit. But the thing that separated them from had no problem was not that they had no problems. It is what they had, an unshakable belief. Their vision was worth fighting for. Belief whispers to you in the dark when everyone else has turned the lights out. Belief tells you to get up again after the failure that embarrassed you. Belief says, I will not let this be the end of my story. Without belief, resistance feels like rejection. With belief, resistance feels like confirmation that you're on the right path. Most people quit not because they lack ability, but because they lack belief strong enough to sustain their persistence. They start out excited, but the first obstacle becomes a wall they never climb. And here's the hook. Your obstacle isn't proof that you can't make it. Your obstacle is proof that you're headed somewhere worthwhile. Nobody robs an empty house. Resistance only comes because the thing you're carrying has value. The question is, will you keep pressing when the pressure shows up? Belief creates the lens through which you interpret your struggles. If you believe that setbacks are final, you'll fold under the weight of disappointment. But if you believe setbacks are setups, then every failure becomes a seed for a future harvest. That's why entrepreneurs keep launching after bankruptcies. That's why athletes keep training after injuries. That's why leaders keep casting vision after betrayals. Belief reframes pain as preparation. Belief convinces you that the delays aren't denials. They're just detours designed to strengthen your persistence muscle. Persistence is not glamorous. It's not the highlight reel. Persistence is waking up when you feel tired, showing up when you feel unnoticed, working when you feel unappreciated. Persistence is doing the thing you said you do long after the feeling you had when you said it has left. And the only way persistence becomes sustainable is when it's fueled by a belief so deep that quitting is simply not an option. That's why people with weak beliefs fade away when things get hard, but people with strong beliefs seem unstoppable, almost irrational. They're not superhuman, they're simply living out the conviction that their vision is non-negotiable. Here's the truth. Most people don't want to admit every big dream comes with a big test. And most people fail not because the test is impossible, but because they stop believing they could pass it. Imagine if Nelson Mandela had stopped believing during his 27 years in prison. Imagine if Oprah had stopped believing after being told she wasn't fit for television. Imagine if Steve Jobs had stopped believing after being fired from the company he started. Their persistence was not born out of comfort. It was born out of conviction. And conviction is always a child of belief. So let me ask you, what are you willing to persist through? What are you willing to keep showing up for when nobody claps, when nobody notices, when nobody believes in you but you? Because here's the paradox. The world won't believe in you until you first believe in you. And if your belief is strong enough to fuel persistence, your persistence will eventually create the evidence that convinces the world. That's why belief is not optional. It's essential. It's the difference between those who talk about dreams and those who live them. The dreamers stop at desire, but the believers persist until desire becomes destiny. So when the storm comes, when the critics speak, when the path gets lonely, remember this: your belief will either collapse under the weight or it will carry you through. And if you choose belief, you'll find yourself standing on the other side of obstacles that once looked impossible, realizing that it wasn't talent or luck that got you there. It was persistence fueled by unshakable belief. Belief is not just about what you see in yourself. It's about what you speak into your world. Words have power. The way you talk to yourself when nobody's listening shapes the reality you eventually walk into. If you constantly tell yourself, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, I'll never make it, then your belief system collapses under the weight of your own tongue. But if you learn to speak life, to speak possibility, to speak victory, even before it shows up, then your words become the architect of your future. And here's the truth most people miss. What comes out of your mouth is a direct reflection of what you believe in your heart. That's why the wealthy, the successful, and the fulfilled guard their words like treasure. They don't casually declare defeat because they know their words carry creative power. Think about it. Every great leader, every visionary, every trailblazer had a moment where they had to declare something before there was any evidence of it. They said, I will. Before anyone believed they could, they spoke of what was possible before it was visible. That's what belief does. It puts language to a future that hasn't shown up yet. And then persistence walks you into that future. The hook here is this: your world will always expand or shrink to the size of your words. If you speak small, you live small. If you speak doubt, you live in fear. If you speak possibility, you live in expansion. There will always be voices around you trying to pull you back into average, into mediocrity, into settling for less. And if your belief isn't strong enough, you'll start to echo their doubts with your own words. But the moment you recognize that belief gives you the authority to rewrite your script, everything changes. Instead of saying, I can't afford this, you start asking, how can I afford this? Instead of saying, this is impossible, you start declaring, this is inevitable. Do you see the shift? The words you choose are not just casual expressions, they are declarations of faith in motion. It's easy to let circumstances dictate your language. If money is tight, you complain. If relationships are hard, you speak frustration. If progress is slow, you declare failure. But that's how you sabotage your own growth. Your words are either watering the seed of belief or poisoning it. And when you poison your belief, persistence becomes impossible. Why keep moving forward if your own mouth is telling you it won't work? But when you speak possibility, even in the middle of pain, you give your persistence a reason to keep pressing. Imagine a farmer planting seeds in dry soil. He doesn't say, there's no point, it'll never grow. He declares with his actions and his expectations that a harvest is coming. Even when the ground looks barren, that's what belief does. It speaks as if the rain is already on the way. And when you align your words with that kind of conviction, you become unstoppable. People might laugh at you. They might think you're delusional. They might tell you to be realistic. But let me ask you, when has realistic ever changed the world? Realistic builds average lives. Belief, spoken with authority, builds extraordinary futures. The reason this is so powerful is because words don't just shape your mindset, they shape your identity. Every time you declare something, you're telling your subconscious who you are. Say, I'm broke enough times and your mind will make sure you stay there. Say, I'm wealthy, I'm resourceful, I'm unstoppable, and your mind will start to look for ways to make those declarations true. That's not fantasy. That's the law of belief in action. You will never consistently act in a way that contradicts what you truly believe and declare about yourself. So if you want to change your life, start by changing your language. Start by catching yourself when negative words try to creep out. Replace them with words that align with where you're going, not where you've been. Your belief must be spoken, because spoken belief creates direction, and direction fuels persistence. Every time you declare something bold, you give your future permission to exist. And the more you align your words with belief, the more your reality will align with your declarations. Now, here's the hook. What are you speaking over your life right now? Are you declaring limitation or expansion? Are you speaking defeat or destiny? Because your future is listening. And if your belief is strong enough to shape your language will be strong enough to shape your future. The greatest evidence of belief is not just what you think, it's what you say and what you persist in saying until the world has no choice but to line up with your declarations. Belief is not meant to stay hidden inside you. Belief demands action. The most powerful evidence of what you believe is not in what you say you'll do, but in what you actually do when nobody is watching. Action is the bridge between your belief and your breakthrough. Too many people say they believe in success, say they believe in their dreams, say they believe in change, but their actions don't line up. And when your actions don't align with your belief will eventually shrink until it disappears. That's why you must treat every step, every choice, every daily decision as proof of your belief. If you say you believe in building wealth, but you don't study, you don't invest, you don't practice discipline, then your actions reveal that belief was never real. It was just wishful thinking. But when you move, when you act as if the outcome is already yours, when you persist even when you don't feel like it, then belief takes on flesh and transforms into results. Here's the hook. Belief without action is nothing more than potential. And potential without action is wasted. You can believe all day that you're meant for greatness, but if you never move, you stay stuck in the same cycle. The greatest gift belief gives you is permission to act before you see the evidence. That's what faith really is, moving as though the promise is already delivered. Think about it. Every person who has ever accomplished something extraordinary had to step out before the proof was visible. They had to invest before the returns came. They had to practice before the applause arrived. They had to keep showing up long before the world cared. That's what separates those who succeed from those who settle. Belief that drives action regardless of what things look like in the moment. The truth is, your actions are always telling the story of your belief. If you show up halfway, if you cut corners, if you quit at the first sign of resistance, you're revealing that your belief was shallow. But if you show up when it's inconvenient, when it's hard, when it feels like nothing is working, you're revealing that your belief runs deep. Belief doesn't ask you to wait until the conditions are perfect. Belief challenges you to move when the conditions look impossible. And every step you take in spite of the odds makes your belief stronger, your resilience deeper, and your persistence unstoppable. Here's another hook. People don't fail because they didn't believe. They fail because they didn't act on their belief. How many times have you seen someone with incredible talent, with big dreams, with amazing ideas, but they stayed frozen because they were waiting for the right time? That waiting is nothing more than fear disguised as wisdom. The right time is always now, because now is the only time belief can prove itself through action. Every time you delay, every time you hesitate, every time you procrastinate, you weaken your belief. But every time you act, even if it's a small step, you strengthen your belief. You prove to yourself that you can move, and that momentum carries you closer to the future you desire. Think of belief like a muscle. Talking about going to the gym doesn't build strength. Reading about workouts doesn't build strength. Watching others exercise doesn't build strength. Only lifting the weight, only pushing through the resistance, only acting builds the muscle. Belief works the same way. It gets stronger through action, through movement, through persistence. If you want unshakable belief, you must move consistently in the direction of your vision, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it seems uncertain. Here's the power. You don't have to know every step to take the first one. Belief is not about having the entire map. It's about trusting that the map will reveal itself as you move. Too many people stand still, waiting for clarity, waiting for certainty, waiting for a guarantee. But belief doesn't give guarantees, it gives direction. And the moment you act on that direction, the path opens up. When you act boldly, you invite opportunities. When you act consistently, you attract alignment. When you act persistently, you eventually collide with breakthrough. And this is where most people miss it. Belief-driven action is not about perfection. It's about progression. You will stumble. You will fail. You will make mistakes. But belief doesn't require you to be flawless. It requires you to be faithful. Every mistake you make in motion teaches you something that standing still never could. Every failure you face while moving forward strengthens you in ways hesitation never will. And when your belief fuels action, even your failures become seeds of your success. So let me ask you, what are your actions saying about your belief? Are you proving your belief with your daily decisions? Or are you betraying it with your inaction? Because every day you are casting a vote with your behavior. You're either voting for your dream or voting against it. You're either proving your belief or disproving it. And the world doesn't respond to what you say you believe. It responds to what your actions reveal you truly believe. So as I close, I want you to hear me stop borrowing doubt from your past and start investing belief in your future. The same God who gave you life gave you purpose. And if he put purpose in you, he also gave you the power to fulfill it. You are not average. You are not ordinary. You are extraordinary. And it's time to believe like it, act like it, and live like it.